Hey there, MLM Insiders. How you doing? This is Rich, and we are here for our Insider Open Forum. And I believe we've got three participators today. We've got James, Stephanie, and Dave, and we're going to go in that order, assuming that those particular folks are available. So let's go ahead and check for James. Let me go over here to the area where I find such things. And there you are. Now, James, unfortunately, you are dialed in on voice over IP. I will attempt to unmute you, but I'm going to tell you this generally does not work. Let's see. James, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, well, I can actually hear you. You sound a little tunnely, but no worse for the wear. We'll be just fine on this. Frequently, when people dial in through their voice over IP, we have this massive echoing feedback, and it doesn't work. So I guess this will be fine. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Really good. I'm so good I can barely stand it. As Joe Walsh once said, I can't complain, but sometimes I still do. So what are we going to talk about today? I've got an email here, but why don't you just kind of talk me through what you want to talk about, and we'll have a conversation.
Okay. So one of them's about the talking to sorry, my
Home and Garden Show.
Home and Garden Show. Thank you. So my document had disappeared. So yeah, pulled it up here. So planning for booth at Home Garden Show, and wondering how different ways of promoting there, and maybe from a hot button perspective. And oh shoot, let me turn off my barking phone. So yeah, maybe promoting from a hot button perspective. And I did, after I emailed you stuff yesterday, I did talk to, got one idea. I did talk to one of the people in charge at the home show there, at the garden show. They are handing out 500 bags to people as they enter. So just at the very, very front door, just general bags going out to all the customers or people coming in. So 250 one day, 250 the next. And apparently I can put like a, I was thinking of doing something like a flyer, or hit a couple, 2 or 3 hot button topics in there, and put an offer in for 25% off on some food or something like that. And maybe if I can work this out with a supplier, get a food sample to staple to that.
That's not floating my boat, and I'll tell you why here in just a second. Let me pull something up here. Okay, I'm gonna put on the screen your homepage mock-up. Okay, you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Now we've still got some work to do on this, and I'm not putting this on here to say, hey, you know, this is exactly what it needs to look like, because I know there's some massaging still to do. But I do want to look at, you know, I wrote this myself. I talked to you quite a bit at the training a month or 2 ago, and this is kind of where I was going with this. I feel like any kind of a message that says, hey, we've got the best dog food, is really going to fall on deaf ears for the most part. You know, it's almost like the, hey, we can save you energy, you know, save you on your energy bills claims that a lot of the home improvement guys I work with are making. People have heard it so many times that they're tired of it. And their default reaction when they hear stuff like that is, no, you can't. You're just saying you can because that's what your job is, to tell people that. So, you know, you got to sell something. Hey, we've got the best pet food. We've got better pet food. We've got good pet food. You know, my reticular activator has been on high sensitivity mode since I talked to you at the live event in Dallas. And so I'm now noticing all the other pet food ads that are coming on. And guess what they all say?
Yeah, we're the best.
We've got the natural ingredients. Oh, all these other foods have crappy ingredients. Our ingredients are better. And it's all ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is what they're all saying. We've got better ingredients. And, you know, intuitively, I've tried to raise you above the ingredients discussion to a different plane. Okay? And here's what the plane is. It's right here in your identity. There's a 70% chance your pet is suffering from food intolerance issues right now. You don't even realize it. We can help you choose the exact right food for your pet's current situation. Now, maybe we can say this different, or maybe we can say this better, or maybe we can say this more concisely for a home show. But let me share with the rest of the participants on the line right now the experience that I had with you at the show, or at the live event, okay?
Okay.
So I'm now talking to everybody else, not you. So I'm at the live event, and this guy James is in there with his wife Rose, and they're telling me about their pet food store, and we're going through the hot buttons and doing our usual methodology stuff, and they're telling me all this stuff about their store and what they do different and better, and their vendor selection hot buttons and objections to ownership, all that stuff. Everything you would expect in a training session. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, you know, this to me is a real typical kind of project. This is a guy that's got pet food, and we got to figure out, you know, what do you do different and better. And he starts talking about these food intolerance issues as one of the things. And I'm hearing it, and I'm thinking, okay, you know, whatever. You know, this is one of the hot buttons. As the week progressed, we had a discussion where you said, no, I don't think you understand that there's things that dogs do that seem like they're just sort of inevitable or normal, but that are caused by food intolerances. And I asked him, I said, like what? And he said, well, like ear infections and ear problems. And I said, wait a second. My dog has massive ear problems, and I don't, in my family, I'm not really the dog guy, so I don't pay that close attention to the dog. There's other people that do, but I know that they're always trying to squirt this crap in the dog's ear, and the dog hates it, and the dog tries to avoid it, and it's ongoing, and it never seems to get any better. And he goes, it's very likely a food intolerance issue, and he said it's probably because of this or this or this or this, and he diagnosed it and gave a prescription of, well, try this and this and this, and he did it in about 8 seconds, and I went, I had no idea. I had never even remotely considered the possibility that the food that the dog is eating had anything to do with that ear problem, because how would you know that? Now, that was just my one experience, but as we got to talking, I found through leaning on James's expertise that this is actually quite common, not just ear problems, but a whole multitude of other problems. True enough, James?
Yep.
So I looked at this and said, instead of saying we've got better ingredients, because you can't even really say that very good because you've got so many different products that have better ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. Let me try something over here. I just got a little note. I've got to deal with something real quick. Not sure how to do this. Sorry about this. Give me a second here. No. Oh, never mind. Sorry about that. Okay, so anyway, you've got so many different brands that I'm looking at it going, you need to be the guy that helps people understand, number one, that problems exist because of the food problems, and number two, help them to diagnose and figure out what they need. So for instance, with me, you said it's probably a combination of grains and proteins, and you need to separate those two, and you need to go just grains or just proteins, and let's start with proteins, and let's go with a straight protein, no grain diet. I think that's what you said, right?
Yeah, getting rid of chicken.
Yeah, okay. And then you said, well, if that doesn't work, then go the opposite way and try just grains and no protein, right? I think that's what you said. I can't remember for sure.
Yeah, just eliminating grains, going to grain-free.
Okay, so anyway, whatever the advice was you gave me, and I said, okay, so on this website where I'm trying to go is to help help people choose the food. So we've got the pet food selector over here, and we've got some, some discussion going about how that can best work, and what's realistically something that you can do versus things that maybe not are going to work so well. Up here at the very top, ask the expert. We have the answer: choosing the right food, identifying intolerance symptoms, etc. I think it would be very interesting for you at a home show to take the same kind of a theme. If you take a food sample and you put it in somebody's bag, here's what's probably going to happen. They're going to look at that and they're going to go, okay, here's a food sample. They're going to give it or not give it to their dog. If they do give it to their dog, it's a free sample. I mean, I'm not saying it's a horrible idea, and I'm not saying it would have no effect, but there's a lot of data on sampling that says it can be very ineffective, especially when people didn't ask for it. Now, sampling when people ask for it's a whole different ballgame. What I'm suggesting is maybe you remember Peanuts cartoons? You ever watch those cartoons when you were a kid, like with Charlie Brown and Lucy and all that?
Not Charlie Brown much, but I have seen them.
Okay, so there's this one character that Lucy has. She's the girl that's mean to Charlie Brown and pulls the football out from under his kicking and all that. She has this booth that she sets up where she gives advice for 5 cents. Have you ever seen that before?
No.
All right. They don't get around much in Canada, do they?
No. Having trouble getting our satellite dishes to stick to our igloos.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so it looks like this, okay? This is basically you at the home show. Now, you're not doing psychiatric help for 5 cents. You're doing help your dog get the right food for 5 cents. And it's actually not 5 cents. This is kind of how I see your home show working, is having a methodology of saying, hey, let me discuss your dog, your cat, whatever, and find the right food. The reason that I chose this headline, a couple of things. Number one, on the top headline, the single biggest factor in your pet's health, vitality, mood, and life expectancy is the food you choose. Yeah, and I think life expectancy is a real hot button with pets, because everybody knows that this pet is not going to live that long. It's just looming out there. It's like the elephant in the room, right? Hey, I love my dog, but sometime in the next few years, I'm going to have to deal with this dog dying, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a very emotional thing, and anybody who's ever had to put a dog or a cat down knows that it's very emotionally taxing. So we kind of hit on that, and then we put this headline together. There's a chance your pet is suffering from food intolerance, and you don't even realize it. And I want people to see that and go, huh, really interesting. I mean, look at all the different ways we could have done this website in more of a traditional factor. Hey, the ingredients of the food are what's important. Hey, we've got 17 different brands of food that have all the right ingredients. And it's the same message that people have heard 1,000 times. This is a message, number one, that people have not heard 1,000 times, but it's not effective simply because of the fact that people haven't heard it 1,000 times. I mean, we could just as easily say something else they haven't heard 1,000 times, like, I don't know, name something random, just any random thing. Stapler was voted the #1 desk tool by Office World magazine last year. And people would go, well, who cares? It has nothing to do. This is something that, number one, it has not been heard 1,000 times, but also is extraordinarily relevant to a huge percentage of your prospective customers. I think when they see it, they are going to look at it and they're going to say, huh, let me think about this. And then we immediately come in here with the top 5 pet food myths and so forth. So I'd like to see this extended at the home show. This is what I want you to look like, basically, right here.
Right. I'll get Cassandra to do that. No.
So, I mean, seriously, how could you pull this off? Well, it's sort of this thought. There's 180 different pet food brands on the market. All of them claim to be great. Some of them claim to be premium. All of them say they have the best ingredients. But did you know that the type of food that is best for your pet depends heavily on what kinds of health issues they have? it's not just simply ingredients that matter. An ingredient that may be great for one pet may be horrible for another pet. I mean, can you give me an example of a pet that has massive problems when eating chicken?
Yeah, there's a number of dogs that just develop an intolerance to that over time. They just can't handle it anymore, and they're just obsessive in biting their paws or their back of their tail or back of their back. Some dogs do great on fish, and others on a fish-based food, and other dogs just blow their coat. They just can't handle it.
They do what to their coats?
Their coats, their hair just falls right out. They lose tons of hair if on a fish formula. That's not the norm, but every once in a while I hear that's a response from dogs.
So let's do this right now, just as sort of a fun little exercise. What are the top symptoms that you see? We'll just talk dogs for a minute here. We could talk cats if we wanted to, but let's talk dogs. What are the top symptoms you see from dogs that are suffering food intolerance issues?
Chronic ear infections. They're constantly obsessively licking their paws, and it could be the tops of their paws or the paw pads underneath themselves. Constant scratching, biting at the base of their tail.
Hang on. Scratching, but with no, fleas or anything, right?
Right.
What's the base of the tail thing?
Biting at the base of their tail.
Okay. What about excessive hair loss? Is that one? Shedding, excessive shedding?
Excessive shedding could be, it could be maybe a food quality issue.
Well, I mean, you just said if they eat too much fish, it's not as common, but
yes.
Here's why I like putting excessive shedding on this list, because even if a dog's shedding is not excessive, somebody might perceive it to be as such, and then be willing to talk to you, right?
Right.
I mean, my dog sheds a lot. Is it excessive? I have no idea. I've always just sort of perceived it as, well, the dog sheds. What's the big deal?
Right.
What else? Anything?
Those are the primary ones.
Okay. In your experience, out of 100 random dogs of all breeds, how many of them are suffering from at least one of these things?
Okay, just going off the top of my head, I would say maybe 1/3 to 40%. I would guess. That's just a guess.
Okay, good. There's 40% right there. Now we got to think about, well, what about the 60% that don't suffer these symptoms? Then what's the discussion? Is it simply better ingredients, longer lifespan, health, vitality? Is sluggishness perhaps one of the symptoms?
Some dogs, just their behavior, if they're erratic or if they're depressed, that can be a food quality issue. And moving to a...
Let me bring this to you from a different angle, okay? If a dog is not experiencing any symptoms of a bad choice of dog food, then there's really no reason to switch them.
Actually, there is.
Which is what?
To keep variety. If they're eating chicken-based food for 5 years, they could very well develop an intolerance to that food. That's why it's good to switch it.
Okay, so if they don't have an intolerance, they will develop one.
They can definitely develop one.
What's the likelihood of them developing?
The likelihood?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I'm going to say 30%. I might be conservative.
Okay, so there's a 70, 60, 50% chance that they can eat the same food their whole life and not have a problem.
I'd have to talk to some vets about it, but I might be conservative on that number.
Now, let me point something out to you here. You're the expert on this kind of stuff, and you don't know. What do you think my chance of knowing is?
Less.
I mean, I never even heard of it. So this is one of those things where we can sort of sound an alarm that even though it's not a 99% likelihood that you're going to run into this problem, we can start sounding this alarm to make people at least stop and take notice and talk to us. I think it's a better bet than simply coming in and saying, hey, we've got the best food. Hey, here's a sample. You want to try it? I mean, giving a sample really is counterproductive to your real goal, isn't it? Because the reality is this sample may not be the right food for your dog.
Right.
Based on everything we've just talked about.
Well, I'd say probably the majority of people, if they're buying food from mass market, grocery, Walmart kind of thing, the majority of them are going to be feeding a chicken-based food. So even just getting them off of chicken would be a step in the right direction.
Is chicken-based the one that's most likely to cause some of these problems we've talked about?
Chicken is the most commonly used protein in dog foods and cat foods, actually. And so just to, even in providing variety, giving their system a break from chicken is beneficial for them.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about how to execute this. Let's see here. Let's go back to your identity for a minute. I'm just thinking here for a second. The cats suffer from these same types of things, or they have a different set of symptoms?
There can be. They can definitely have intolerance issues to different proteins, but they sometimes have other issues to deal with, or that are different from dogs. But I also have, my gut feeling is that cat owners tend to be more flexible in changing proteins than dog owners.
Because?
It's just the thinking, the mentality. Well, I've been feeding my dog this for 5 years or 10 years. I can't change my dog's food. I've been feeding it too long. I think cat owners seem to be more open to variety. And people seem to like to feed their cat fish, so they're open to that.
How often would you recommend changing the type of food?
It could be every year, even less, every 6 months.
Okay, I'm just over here jotting stuff down. I'm not sleeping, by the way.
That's good. No.
So what if we came up with a headline for a banner that said something like this: changing the type of food you give your pet every 6 to 18 months is mandatory to avoid intolerance issues. Then we just create this quick list. Chronic ear infections, obsessive paw licking, scratching, even with no flea, biting at the base of the tail, excessive shedding, depressed mood, lethargy, lack of energy, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Let us talk to us about your pet. We'll recommend the right food. We have over 30 different varieties. One is exactly right for your pet. See how that works?
Yeah.
And then really what you're trying to do is get people to come up and talk to you. Now, another thing that you could do is you could integrate a sweepstakes like we do with our home improvement guys, where you come in and would you be willing to do some kind of a giveaway? You know, free food for a year or something? I mean, I'm not trying to impose the prize exactly that, but is that something you'd be willing to look at?
Yes.
Okay. What would you be willing to give away?
This is where I've gotten backing from suppliers. So we could do free food for 6 months or a year.
What's the value of free food for a year?
So retail cost?
Yeah.
Six.
What, $1,000?
Yeah, about 1,200.
All right, let's do this. I don't know what Canadian money looks like, but create a $1,000 bill. You've seen our big bills, right? 17 inches by 7.3. Maybe the dimension's a little bit different for a Canadian bill. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's easy to do. So you get a $1,000 bill. Do they have an actual $1,000 bill in Canadian money?
Probably, but our money's turning plastic now.
Well, you've got money though. They've got cash, right?
Yes.
Okay. If they don't have a $1,000 bill, that's actually better because it's more unusual and people have never seen it.
Well, I never have either.
Okay, so that's good. So we create a $1,000 bill. We make it look like 100 or something more common, but it's a $1,000 bill. And what we're going to do is we're going to give $1,000. We're going to give $1,000 of free pet food away. You know, up to a year, up to $1,000, whatever. You can set those parameters however you want. Now, here's what we do. For them to be registered, here's what we do. We create, I'm going to show you one of these so you can see it. Hang on. Okay, it looks basically like this. This is one that we do for the home improvement guys.
Mm-hmm.
But we make a couple of really key changes on this. So you see on the left-hand side, it's just their contact information, stuff like that. We'll probably need to make it about half as wide. You see here where it says spouse in the middle?
Yeah.
We want this whole area here to only be as wide as that, because instead of having this My Dream Project Is questionnaire area, we want to have 2 question areas. Okay? So the first thing we want to ask them is we want to ask them about their current food. What brand of food? How long has your pet been on this food? You know, first of all, you know, what kind of pets do you have? Dog, you know, number of dogs, number of cats, whatever. Type of food you've been feeding them, how long they've been on that food. And then on the right-hand side here, see where it says My Dream Project Is?
Mm-hmm.
We want to put over here, symptoms my pet is experiencing. And then guess what goes under those check boxes? Chronic ear infections, obsessive paw licking, scratching, biting at base of tail, excessive shedding. Maybe you put a couple that are specific to cats. See, the good thing about this list is that you can put that same list even for cat owners. They don't know that maybe cats aren't prone to those symptoms. They'll just look at it and go, well, my cat doesn't have an ear infection.
Right.
So then what happens is this. You gather this information on people. You don't just get their name. You get this information. What kind of food are they using? And then what kind of problems are they having? Maybe there's one for, you know, my pet's not experiencing any of these. And then what you do is you give away the grand prize once a year, whatever, whenever you feel like it. I don't care about that. But then the second thing you do is you can call the people with a second prize, right? So now you've got to give away maybe a 1-month supply, or maybe you can give them a $15 gift card good towards food at your store, or something like that. Mm-hmm. But you call them up on the back end and you say, hey, you know, our $1,000 pet food giveaway is going to happen, you know, July 14th on Bastille Day. I just made that up because it's a funny French holiday that you probably celebrate in Canada. But nevertheless, whatever day you want. But we are giving away monthly first prizes, and I'm calling to let you know that you won. And what you've won is a $25 gift card good towards any food products at our store. I'm going to go ahead and send that over to you, or $10. It doesn't matter the amount. You figure out what works well within your margins, what you're willing to spend, et cetera, okay? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go ahead and email that over to you, or I'm going to go ahead and shoot that over to you in the mail, however you want to get it to them. Let me confirm your address, And then you say to them, hey, I see here that your dog has, you know, an ear problem. You know, tell me about that. And then you start talking to them, or you schedule them to come in. Hey, come into our store, and we'll, you know, maybe the person on the phone can't actually do that diagnosis, but you can direct them into the store, or you can direct them onto your website. Hey, if you go to our website at, you know, xyz.com, there's an area in there to fill out, you know, and get a diagnosis. I'm actually not the right person to do the diagnosis. I'm simply following up to let you know that you won. But, you know, James or Dave or Don or Rose or whoever's in the store can do that. And we're just trying to gather information that we can use to you know, use to our advantage later.
Right. No, that sounds good.
So here's what you want to become. Lucy.
Yeah.
You need to watch more TV, man. I'm just kidding. Okay. Given the time constraints on this call, we're going to move to the next topic. I know that you had two things. What was the other thing that you wanted to talk about?
So the other thing is with respect to JV. So I've been visiting like doggy daycare businesses and established relationship there. So one I've known the one business I've known the owner there for a few years now, and they're doing grooming as well. I've been, with respect to groomers, I've been hesitant in recommending groomers to customers who come in the door because people are quite passionate about their pets, and if somebody doesn't groom their pet well or nicks them and their dog's skin is bleeding and whatever, like people, they're very passionate about it, and people hear about it and they're ticked off and they'll never go back, kind of thing. And so I've been kind of hesitant with respect to recommending groomers. But I also, so to keep on going, I've gone to 3 different doggy daycare businesses in town. Is there a way of, how can a person successfully kind of be friendly with both and recommend, or the 3 and recommending people, and then them to recommend me as well, and people that they meet?
Okay, so I think what you're asking me is how can I play ball with 3 of them at the same time?
Yeah.
You're like trying to have 3 girlfriends at the same time and not let them find out, right?
Yeah, Rose is here too now.
Hey, Rose.
Hi.
Yeah, so, you know, there's a couple of ways to approach that. The first way, I'm not going to say anything earth-shattering here, by the way. First way is to pick the one that you feel has the most potential for you and offer them an exclusive as part of the inducement of doing, you know, this promotion with you. If you do want to utilize all 3, that's okay too. It just changes the nature of how it works. So instead of going to them and saying, hey, let's do a cross promotion where I'll promote you, you promote me, you go to them and you say, hey, you promote me and I'll make it financially rewarding to you. Or I'll put your company as a resource on my website along with a couple of other places, or, you know, something that's not as exclusive. But I mean, you can definitely do it. It all has to do with how you set up the rules and how you present it to people and how they perceive it based on what you've presented.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing inherently that says things have to be exclusive.
Right.
So somebody comes to you and says, well, I'd like to do this, but it's got to be exclusive. You can say, well, okay, then I guess we're not going to do it. I guess I'll just work with these other 2 guys and you'll never show up on my website. Well, you know, whatever. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you want to at least appear?
Right.
So I think this is just a matter of setting up the rules. You know, I would be inclined to do maybe more of an exclusive kind of a thing if one of the 3 really seemed like a better partner, but if they don't, you know, what I just said still stands. You could still roll it out. It doesn't have to be exclusive.
Right.
You just have to look at the financial inducements involved. If the financial inducement isn't necessarily just a endorsement from you to them and them to you, you know, if you're looking for more of a one-way thing, hey, I want you to promote me. But, you know, one of the things that you can do is you can be a little bit interesting with this. This whole concept of let me tell you what dog food your dog needs. yes, it's self-serving to you because you're trying to get business off of it, but the reality is it's a service to the community.
Mm-hmm.
Now, your biggest fight's going to be with the veterinarians, probably.
Yeah, that'll be as far as in terms of percentage market share, that would be the smallest, but yeah, they would be probably more vocal and passionate about it.
Well, because you're kind of stealing their thunder. But if you go around in home shows and on your website and in advertising saying things like, "Hey, bring your pet by and let us at least do an annual checkup," maybe you could offer a checkup.
Right.
And if there's serious problems, you send them over to a veterinarian. But what you're doing is you're going to give them a food intolerance checkup. Let us come take a look.
Okay.
I just see this as being a portal to so many things that are interesting and good and productive and positive for you, that you're offering this service. I mean, I can almost see it as, I'm not telling you to go around knocking on people's doors, but I can almost see, you just get known as this company, this guy, this entity that helps people solve this problem that they didn't even know they had, and you make yourself available. We're going to be at the Walmart parking lot. Walmart probably wouldn't want you there because you're stealing their food business, but we're going to be at the shopping mall. We're going to be at the whatever place. Bring your pet by. Or we're going to be in a certain neighborhood. Bring your pet by between 10 and 12 a.m. Hit flyers or postcards or whatever, mailers in all that neighborhood's doors. Did you know that there's food intolerances? You probably didn't even know that. And here's the situation, and your food is causing these problems, and you have to switch it up every 6 to 18 months, and here's the problems that are caused. Let us take a look. Let us take a look. Let us take a look. All you're asking is, let us take a look. That's your sales pitch. Let us take a look. Your sales pitch is not buy food from me. It's let us take a look.
Right.
And how many other people are saying, let me take a look? Answer, 0.
Right.
So, you go to these groomers and these other guys, and you say, hey, let us put this message out to your customers. Here's a company that'll take a look, that'll solve this problem that you didn't even know existed. You're totally coming in through the back door on this food issue by handling a problem that's real, that's pervasive, that people don't know about, and that, oh, by the way, you solve it by selling them your food, which, oh, by the way, they're going to buy food anyway, so they don't feel like you just sold. It's not like the solution is, oh, well, you got to buy this $900, electric heated kennel from me that they weren't planning on buying anyway. The solution is, oh, you could buy food. You're buying food anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting setup. If I'm you, I'm going to sleep at night, and as I'm drifting off, I'm thinking about ways to push this concept forward.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all we have time for. Sorry for the shortness, but it's actually kind of long given the constraints of this call. So I'm going to let you go and move on to our next caller, okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
James. Okay. All right, well, we're going to move on to Stephanie. Stephanie, can you hear me? All right, Stephanie, that's the kind of background feedback that I was talking about. You're going to need to call back in on a telephone, and I will unmute you when you do that. Sorry about that. The next person is Dave Payne. Let me see if I can find Dave Payne. There you are. Dave, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Good. Dave, I don't know who you are. Who are you?
Okay. I go back to Y2M days. I joined 2003 July, and my wife Cynthia and I signed up.
Cynthia Payne. That name I do recognize.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been out to Dallas multiple times.
Yeah, okay. I remember you. Now,
we go back pretty deep, but it's a long time no speak for sure.
Tell me where you're from.
Oxford, Connecticut.
Connecticut. Okay. Well, good to talk to you. It's been
thanks. Yeah.
Now that I do remember, I don't know why I remember your wife, but now that you bring it up, I remember.
She's pretty, and I'm ugly, so.
That's right. She was that good-looking woman with that ugly sack of a guy.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, anyway, it's good to talk to you again. What can we do for you here?
Oh, sure. So real quick, and I know that there's not much time to it's sort of an expansive topic that I was thinking about, and I'll try to shorten a little bit. And I always refer back to your Monopolize Your Marketplace book that you wrote in 2004, and of course your 2 CD series. Again, I'm not a paid advertiser. 2 CD, 5 CDs set, but again, those have been great resources for me over the years, and I've continued, and my wife and I have both been involved in continued in consulting business, sometimes marketing, sometimes other areas, but we stayed in the consulting business. Anyway, we'll go to just to maybe make a shorter, to make it easy conversation. One challenge of maybe of a growing business or new business or a mature business is to how to obtain new clients, new business. And part of it you cover very well in your book, where you, of course, in chapter 5, you talk about the marketing equation: interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. And then in chapter 2, where you talk about the master letter, and that's sort of an area where I want to go into a little bit, because that's sort of a letter versus, like I said, what we can use those tools for as a verbal prospecting. Say if you're cold calling or making calls to folks who maybe referrals and so forth. And of course the 6C elevator pitches, and just wondering if you have any updated thoughts on that. And also getting past the gatekeeper. So I don't want to make it too complex. I just wanted to toss that out there right now to you, Rich.
I'm not sure what the question was and all that.
So the question is, it's like, since your 2004 book, I was just wondering, since you've met with probably thousands of businesses and business leaders and consultants, I was wondering, like, maybe that's still, if you, any new thoughts or any new suggestions in regards for prospecting for growing businesses, particularly using verbal means as opposed to using printed materials. I'm just wondering if if you had any.
That's a difficult question to answer simply because it's so broad. I mean, here's the question you just asked me: hey, how can a new business get new customers? Mm-hmm. And I look at that and go, well, okay, what kind of business? What is the situation? What kind of new customers? Who are you targeting? What are you trying to go after? What are you trying to accomplish? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of variables in that would lead to probably a more productive discussion. Okay. Can you fill any of those gaps for me, or?
Well, yes, I could. Or else I could call another time, because I know that it's 1:15 Eastern Standard Time, and so where I was calling from is really just see, if some generic thoughts that you might have, just as far as we have mature business and which I could explain and maybe send you an email or information about prior to the phone call. So maybe this is the wrong forum to discuss that. So it was just sort of an idea that popped in my head over the past week or so, and and I'm just wondering if I have all kinds of resources on that, but growing businesses is always a challenge, and your principles that you've established are so valid, and so
I would say that. Yeah, I think the question's probably a little broad for our purposes right now. I would say the generic answers to all those questions are already found in the book that you're already reading. I would say let's find a time in the near future to discuss what some of those specifics are, if there is a specific situation. If there's not a specific situation, I don't know that we really need to discuss it, other than to say, well, those principles are neatly defined and outlined and documented in the book and in the CDs and so forth. But on a more specific level, it's easy to come up with ideas if we've got a specific scenario.
Okay, sure.
It might involve mailing if there's a good mailing list available. It might involve internet marketing. It might involve knocking doors. I mean, I don't know. It's just going to depend on
all of the above. Sure, definitely.
And then each of those things is going to have its corollary set of ideas and ways to implement and protocols and so forth. So it is a very broad topic. So let's
way too broad. Yeah. So I apologize, Rich.
That's all right. No need to apologize.
But it's an interesting topic, but and could be fun. And so I'll try to narrow it down so it's discussion. So it's suitable for a conversation with your broad audience. So.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
All right. Well,
have a good one.
Thanks for being on, and it's good to hear from you again. Tell Cynthia hello for me.
Okay, we'll do it for sure.
Okay. Thanks. Now let's see if Stephanie's made it back on. Okay, let's see. I'm going to try you one more time, Stephanie?
Hi, I had my computer on volume, but I've been on the phone the whole time.
Now, this is just my computer screen, Stephanie. By the way, I just muted you because there's a lot of feedback. I show that you're on a microphone using the voice over IP protocol as opposed to a telephone. I'm going to try to unmute you again, and you can address that. Here we go. Okay. You're now live. Stephanie, are you on a telephone?
Yes.
Okay, it didn't echo that time. Well, let's try to make it through it.
I'm kind of scared to talk.
That's all right. Let's try it.
Okay. So my call today is about affiliate marketing. I'm trying to learn all these, to me, buzzwords, the difference between affiliate marketing, content marketing, and learning which ones would be best for our company, starting with affiliate marketing. I've kind of learned that in my research, it's pretty much finding a partner and they market for you. Maybe it's in their blog or they advertise for you, and they get a percentage of the sale. And I wanted to know what you thought about this type of marketing.
Okay. First of all, from a definition standpoint, we call that joint venture marketing.
Okay.
It's really not important what the name is, but it's important for you to know that because there's a bunch of resources. I've probably done 5 webinars on this topic that you could search on our website. The answer is I think it's a great idea. A lot of companies don't do it because it takes time and it takes effort and it's hard to put together, and you've got to convince people to do stuff, and then they've got to follow through. So it's not necessarily easy to do, but there's a lot of benefits to it. Specifically, you're dealing with a customer base that has confidence in a company that they can then extend that confidence over to you because of the referral. So most definitely, I'm a fan of it. In fact, if you look at the way that my company markets, it's almost done exclusively through joint venture marketing. And
like MarketSharp.
Like MarketSharp, we've got sponsors. I write articles for different magazines, and I've got blogs with Qualified Remodeler and all these different things that we do to get exposure to other people's customer bases, people that don't necessarily know who I am, but they have a certain level of confidence with that primary vendor. So it's really good, but there's a lot of different ways to approach it. You know, there's endorsements, there's joint ventures, I mean, there's consignments, there's lots of different ways to do it. Did you have anything specific in mind that we could talk about?
I really didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. I'm going to encourage you to go to the MWAM Insider portal. By the way, the MWAM Insider portal is about to be completely it's about to be released, the brand new portal. So I kind of hate the one now. It's kind of clunky and difficult to maneuver through. It's got good information, but just as a little commercial preview for everybody, the new one will be ready, gosh, within the month or less. But anyway, go in there and search for joint venture, and you'll see 3 or 4 or 5 webinars on the topic, and you can read the summaries of each of those webinars so you can get a feel for what's on them, and then you can find the ones that sort of look the most interesting and have the most relevance, and you can kind of go from there. But it's an interesting topic. It's also covered in detail in Monopolize Your Marketplace, the book, and the 10-CD set.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I think the biggest key here is to use the term joint venture.
Oh boy, let me turn that off.
Now, content marketing, I'm not sure what you mean by that. What do you mean by that?
Well, in my research, it said content marketing is not about what you sell, it's about what you stand for. So it really relates to the identity piece, I think. And I think it's more about your copy on your site, not necessarily a marketing standpoint, but I don't know why they call it marketing.
Well, yeah, it's going to be hard for me to say simply because I don't know where that source is or where where you've heard this term, but I've not heard this phrase content marketing with any particular meaning before.
Okay.
Where did you hear it?
My business coach, and I started researching it when I've been looking at it for SEO companies. And they were talking about, I think it's really just about getting your marketing message across, and it could necessarily be on your website, your home show. So I really think it's actually what you do. It's expressing your identity, particularly for your marketing message.
Okay, I'll take your word for it because again, it's kind of like when you said affiliate marketing, I said, hey, that's what we call joint venture.
Sure.
Sometimes there's just terms that people use different things to mean the same thing. We use a phrase, hopper systems. Other people would call it a drip system. Others would call it a nurturing system. So, it just kind of depends. But in this particular case, I don't really have a comment because I'm not sure what it means.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I will look up those webinars.
Okay, well, why don't you do that, listen to a couple of those, and then if you've got some specific questions about those, I'd be happy to address them with you.
Okay, sorry about the feedback. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of feedback right at first, but it's fine now, so I guess we've fought through it. Thanks.
Yeah, that was like a horror movie. Okay. I don't want to ever do that again.
Okay, so it's good to talk to you again for a minute, Stephanie.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
All right, the last thing I'm going to do is talk to Chase Kelly. You may have recognized him from the LASH program, and he's actually typed in something here. Let's see what it says. Quick question. I'm doing a full-page ad in a hyper-local newspaper as an ad for hair services. What do you think about this headline? We have 3 stylists who no longer accept new clients, 3 who only take referrals, and our 10 other stylists are filling up fast. We take great care of our clients, and they love us. If you are looking for a great stylist, then you will stay with us for a long time and look no further. Or is there another vendor selection angle that might be better? Well, there always might be one that might be better, but that's a pretty good one. It's hitting the exclusivity, scarcity type of a hot button and scenario, so that's good. What I didn't like about it was you've got 3 that are no longer taking customers, 3 that are referral only basis, and then you have this 10 that are available, which it sounded like too many. I was expecting it to be more exclusive than that. I've got 3 that are completely full, 3 that will only take referrals, and I've got these 190 over here, though, that are wide open and ready. Now, I know you didn't say 190, you said 10, and I know you didn't say wide open and ready, you said filling up fast, but that's kind of the way that it felt. Super exclusive, almost super exclusive, referral only, and then, oh, hey, we've got some. So, I might try to retool that a little bit to say, maybe out of, I'm going to make some stuff up here, Chase, so don't worry if it's exactly right. In the details, you can tweak those. But, well, let me just make it up, and then you adjust it a little bit. Something like we've got 16 stylists, 3 are completely full, 3 are referral only, and the other 10 combined only have room for 22 new clients. Or something like this. What I'm trying to do is let them see that there's a certain amount. Remember the phrase that we used last week on our call, or earlier this week, I guess it was on this call, the word wait list. I love that word wait list. you can use it to your advantage. You know, something like 11 of our 16 stylists are on wait list, referral only, or completely unavailable. You know, to get on our wait list or to get an appointment, you know, call us immediately. I'm not being super clear on that, but I think you get the idea of trying to make it look even a little more exclusive. Let me see. Yeah, so does that make sense, Chase? I might do something like that. All right, well, that was just a quick hit. Thanks for participating. I think that's it. We're an hour in, and it's an hour call, so I guess we're about done. Thanks for being on the webinar today, and we'll talk to you, gosh, I think next week. I can't remember. Whenever our next one is, check the schedule. We'll talk to you then. Thanks. See ya. Bye now.